Hello, boys.
Just one question. When do you start feeling better? After travelling, 12, 13 hours around the... I think it's halfway, isn't it? Halfway around the world. Because it's 26 hours to get to Australia, 13 hours to get to where I've just been, so 13 hours back. 11, 12, something like that. You lose all sense of time in the air. Because they lay on all of these exciting things for you to do all the time. Eating. Endless eating. I've never eaten or drank, by the way, so much in my life. And it doesn't matter what time of day you get on the plane. You start drinking booze immediately, which is the last thing you're supposed to do, I know. But it's the first thing you want to do when you sit down, because they come around and they start offering you a cheap, well, not cheap, it's just free. And you get on the plane and you think, well, I won't have any of that. What are you laughing at?
We thought you were going to play your Carol McGiffin booze sound clip.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, right, yeah.
We've missed it.
Yeah, well, haven't we all?
No.
No. Where was I? Because I think when I'm talking about something and you're reacting to something else in there, I think you're listening to a different show. A much more amusing and interesting show than the one I'm putting on. And I'm wondering, I wonder what's on in there. So I was just curious, that's all. Anyway, I feel dreadful. But you know me, I'm not one to complain. Oh, where was I? Oh yeah, I came back to all this grumpy Britain stuff. Nothing makes the British quite so happy as being miserable. Or so a best-selling author has recently claimed. Eric, is it Weiner or Weiner? Either is amusing in this respect. W-E-I-N-E-R, German, 1 year of German would suggest that that's Weiner. Eric Weiner, an American, says we're a nation of victim elders taking a perverse pleasure from our grumpiness. And I think he's got something there. There are a lot of columnists who had taken this up, because columnists, like journalists, run in packs. They haven't got an idea in their ugly little heads. And so they see one, what are you eating? It's so distracting. It's like a zoo in there.
Sorry, it's an apple.
Every time I look up, it's like an exhibit. I should pay you money. Anyway. Eric Weiner, an American, says we're a nation of victim elders. We take a perverse pleasure from our grumpiness. And I was going to make a pertinent point about that, but I can't remember what it is now. Because it's feeding time at the zoo in there. You're both at it. Others, however, may feel that he's simply got the wrong end of the stick. Separate research suggests that Britons have genes to make them prone to negative humour, which Americans simply don't get. What on earth does that mean? We've got genes which make us prone to negative humour. What on earth does that mean? The genetics has got nothing to do with your sense of humour. It's all about societal influence. It's not, what's the great phrase from psychology? I did it for 4 years. It's the simplest thing to know about that subject. It's I've got it. Oh, I'm gonna
labelling theory.
Huh?
Is it labelling theory?
You just threw that out. You probably don't even have any idea what that means, do you?
I do.
All right. Labelling theory. Discuss. See? No, it's not nature, it's nurture, your sense of humour. It's got nothing to do with your genetic makeup. People aren't born funny. Oh, I take that back. Some babies are hilarious. Much to their mother's chagrin, they think they're the loveliest thing on the planet. But they proffer them to you, expecting you to go to break into baby talk. Ooh, all that, and all that moronic stuff that adults get into when they're presented with small children, who you stare at because they stare open-eyed right back at you. Apart from animals, which you're disinclined to stare at because you don't know if it'll trigger some switch in their brain to flip and they'll attack. Particularly if they're dogs. Don't stare in a dog's eyes, because it might go berserko on you. But you can do it in a baby's eyes, because in a fight, you'd probably win. But they just stare right back at you. And there's nothing there behind their eyes. They're not thinking, why is that person staring at me? Are they looking for, who are you looking at, mate? There's none of that. They're just like, oh, eyeballs. And they're just... And you react to that on a very primitive level, I think. Because no, you stare right back, and then you start smiling uncontrollably, because there's no other form of human that you can stare at like that. And I think that it's something that we all yearn for. I mean, you must have done it yourself, and it's not something you it's almost beyond your choosing to do it. If a baby's staring at you, you get such intense pleasure from eye contact that doesn't actually mean anything, and that there's nothing, there's no sort of sense of negative there, which we don't get at any other point with our interactions with human beings. Even if we really, really love the person that we're staring at, there's always there's some sort of psychological or historical nature in the staring. But with babies, it's blank. How did I get onto this? Oh, it was looking at your round, smiling face, Raj. That must have been what it was. Reminded me straight away. Give that boy a rattle. Anyway, this Grumpy Nations thing. So you got any thoughts about this? Are we actually a grumpy nation? Do we take perverse pleasure from our grumpiness? I suspect that he's got something there. And you only realise the nature of the place that you live in when you go away and come back. Because if you're immersed in it, you're too close. It's like wood from the trees. If you leave and you come back, or you get a glimpse of your country from afar, as I did every now and again when I was flipping through Thai television, when I just couldn't stand the heat outside anymore, and you had to come back into your room just to get a blast of air conditioning so that your pores would close and your feet would stop swelling. You flip around and there would be Asian MTV on. Oh, that's fascinating.
Boring!
It is awful. It's just, I can't even begin to put into words how bad Asian pop music is. No offence, it's terrible. But anyway, of the few British channels, I've got Bloomberg, which is a very, if you're into business, not that kind of business, which is rife over there, particularly in a bad street in Phuket. Business. Gordon Brown's face would come on every now and again, and I'd think, oh... That man looks like his own cadaver. Am I right? There's this waxwork thing with Madame Tussauds, which I'm very suspicious about. Oh, yes, we did. Oh, no, we didn't. What's all that about? They did or did not want to make a waxwork model of Gordon Brown, because on the one hand, nobody wanted it, and yet on the other, there was a giant public clamour for one. Both positions being held by the same organisation. What's going on there? But anyway, when he comes on the screen, there's something wrong. Has he lost weight or something? Or he doesn't go outside, or during the daylight, sleeps in a coffin. There's something seriously wrong there. He looks like his own waxwork. I could just stick him on a podium in there and charge people to come and see him. I will. I'm almost getting into the waxwork debate now, not having finished this grumpy thing. I'm beginning to skate around uncontrollably, Raj, and it's all your fault. You being the producer and all. It's supposed to be on a tight rein here. Get out the leash. So I'll do the grumpy thing, and then I'll come back and do the Madame Tussauds. Can you even wait?
No.
See, this is what I came back to, Alex. It's just abuse. I go to, after the show, I go home, Raj, and I cry myself to sleep. Are you aware of that?
How's your roof with this weather, by the way?
I'm glad you asked. 5 buckets. In fact, I've run out of buckets, and I'm using my collection of saucepans to collect the rainwater.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And it's going, bing!
Yeah,
bing.
A lot. Well, no, it's much more violent than that.
Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Yeah, and when the pings get really close together, you start to get frightened, because there's only so much water that your average bucket can hold. And if you're not there paying attention all the time, because I was paranoid coming back after 2 weeks. It can't have rained very much in the 2 weeks that I was away, because the buckets weren't very full. I was expecting to open the door to the flat and a tsunami wave would have washed me back out into the hall.
Did you have a friend, like a bucket monitor? You know, like some people get
No.
their cats fed by a friend. Did you have someone who checked your bucket every couple of days?
No, I did not. No.
I would have been anxious about that the whole time I was on holiday.
Absolutely, yeah. That and did I turn the gas off? And would any of my possessions actually still be there when I got back? I was amazed that my stuff was still there. I was literally astonished that my flat screen TV was still in position, along with my hi-fi and, my exquisite collection of antiques. I made that last bit up. What?
Yes. Do not go round to Nick's house. There are no exquisite antiques there.
There's nothing there.
There's nothing to steal.
No, nothing to see. Please move along. Anyway, this grumpy thing. Separate research suggests the thing about Britons have got genes which make us prone to negative humour. Is there the same sort of genes which make you prone to being fat? Yeah, it's got nothing to do with a cake fork in your hand. Wiener, this American bloke, describes Britain as one of the gloomiest countries on the planet. I feel sorry for the Brits, he says in his book The Geography of Bliss. The happy are few, and regarded by others as suspect. And I think that's quite right. When I was coming back on the tube, and as I say, you only get a notion, there's a bloke in there cleaning the windows. Cleaning windows. There's distractions at every point of the compass. I expect a posse of clowns to come in and start juggling any moment now. I'll collect my thoughts and I'll come back, eh? This will be a much more together show when I return. You believe that, don't you? 7:45. LBC Travel with Karen Mercer.
I'm just getting some information in.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
We have a How Low auction going on at the moment. Every day this week we're giving you a Sony Vaio laptop to bid on. If you fancy one for yourself, you could win one by 6:30 p.m. tomorrow. To enter the How Low reverse auction, you text your bid in pence to 88821. And here's what you're bidding on. It's an NR Series Sony Vaio laptop. A 15.4-inch widescreen, a DVD writer, 120GB hard drives, which is huge, Windows Vista Premium software, and it's wireless enabled. It's a reverse auction here, the one with the lowest unique bid wins. That's the lowest bid in pence that nobody else makes. Text your bid, after the letters LBC, your bid in pence to 88821. To explain the bid £1.23, you would text LBC 123 to 88821. Bids cost £1.50 plus your standard network rate. Lines closed 6:30 tomorrow. That's 6:30 p.m. tomorrow. Bidders must be over 16. See lbc.co.uk for full terms and conditions. First call, Hampstead. Hello, George.
Hello, Nick.
George.
Lovely to have you back.
Super to be here.
While you were away, you missed certain things.
Okay.
You missed the selections for the Eurovision Song Contest.
Did I?
And I don't know if you know, in Southern Ireland, they elected a puppet as their entry. Dustin the turkey won.
Hang on a minute. There's somebody who come in here and nick my pen.
Was it a blue one?
Yes.
That was mine that I brought in, and then I was missing it, so I took it back.
Can you believe that? I'm in here trying to do a professional radio show. He's nicking my writing equipment. What am I supposed to make notes with?
You want it back?
Yes, please. Well, I'm supposed to make a mental note, am I? Isn't that shocking, George? Have you ever heard anything like it?
I have.
Bet you wish you'd stayed in Thailand, no?
They don't treat you like this in Thailand, and I'd like you to bow and wish me a good day while you do it. No!
So,
I think he's got that whole bowing thing wrong. The hand signals that they do, you clasp your palms together and you put them in front of your face. It's close to what you just did, but not close enough. Anyway, George, yes.
So, Dustin the turkey.
Right, hang on a minute. I'm going to make a note of this. Dustin the turkey.
Yeah, is the Irish entry with a song called Do's Points or something, with 12 points.
Well, you know why they've done this?
They don't want to win it.
They're exactly right.
But
yes,
it's
they don't
favourite.
want to win it.
It's favourite with the bookies, though.
Oh, no. Because I think that this thing is bankrupting Ireland. They can't afford to put this thing on anymore.
Precisely. So
they were winning it and winning it and winning it.
Yeah, so they put one in as a sure loser,
right,
and his favourite to win it. And,
it's like the producers, isn't it?
Yes. And our entry is by a guy called Andrew Abraham.
Oh, he's very good. Who's he?
He was a runner-up, I think, in the X Factor or something a couple of years ago. He's a black guy with a bald head and quite a decent song.
The Bin Man.
Sorry?
The Bin Man.
Was he a bin man?
Well, I don't know. There was a black guy with a bald head that was a runner-up. It was a bin man, and he was everybody's favourite because he was a bin man.
Well, was his name Andrew Abraham?
I don't know, but he was my old man. Oh.
and I was listening yesterday. You asked a question about why Hillary Clinton is so keen to get elected.
Yes. What is that? The drive for power?
I think it's revenge. Probably she probably dreams of being in the White House and saying I wasn't having sexual relations with that man or something. Right. Maybe that's what motivates her.
Cheekily enough, she suggested to Obama over and over again that he be her running mate. In other words, Hillary be the number one and Obama be the prospective, deputy president. What do they call him?
Wouldn't that be a bit of potential revenge then?
Well, what are you saying, George?
Well, I don't... And also, you've missed, of course, all the mayoral stuff that's been going on.
Oh, yeah. Anything?
Well, Lee Jasper sort of resigning the day before he was supposed to appear before the Assembly.
I think that happened just before I left, yeah.
No, he resigned just last week something.
Oh, right. Like I said, it happened while I was away. Yeah.
And I still haven't managed to find a celebrity candidate to front up.
No, I wouldn't think so, no. No one would be crazy enough.
But Rainbow Revolution. I've been trying to get Ken Livingstone.
Hey, now you suckered me in with interesting talk about the Eurovision Song Contest, and now we're on this again.
No, this is very good.
Mm-hmm. So, Dustin the Turkey, is that who it is?
Dustin the Turkey.
Right, what colour is it? Yellow.
No, I think it's a sort of pinkish, turquoise colour.
Ooh, so yummy.
And, no, you'll find Dustin the Turkey on that website.
Oh, pull up, give me a Google of Dustin the Turkey. I want to see a picture of that straight away, Raj.
No, rainbowrevolution.net.
Right, yeah, or Dustin the Turkey, do a Google search. Be much quicker, I would imagine.
It wouldn't. I've been trying to get Ken Livingstone to leave the Labour Party and
join
for him to be our candidate.
Sure, I bet he's thinking about it seriously, yeah.
And then there's a competition on the internet.
Is there? Oh, that's nice.
£50,000 is being put up.
No, I don't want that.
Don't you?
No, really.
You could be a candidate. You could be the candidate in the election. There's this...
Click on that one there.
Which one where?
I'm not talking to you. That's the Dustin... That's not a turkey. That looks insane, that animal. They're not going to win, are they? It's
favourite.
Well, it might be favourite with the bookies, but that's just because people are having a silly bet on something that's hasn't got what's the song like? I can only imagine.
It's nothing special.
Well, it's the Eurovision Song Contest. What do you expect? When's it on?
I'm not even sure. Must be April sometime.
What, you called in with incomplete information, George?
No, I was telling you about the...
What kind of a phone call is this?
Songs that have been selected. This could be a brilliant call.
I can't wait till it starts.
London elects you.
Yeah, oh, God, here we
go. London elects you.
Mm-hmm.
.co.uk.
Yeah. Okay, well, the best of luck with that, George, because I think you're going to need it in spades.
I need some votes.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. All right, cheers, mate. Ta-ra. Yeah, Hillary Clinton has suggested to Barack Obama, who is in the lead at the moment, that he be her mate. Will he be my friend? And he's saying, get lost. I'm beating you. I think it's a very exciting election over there. I'm much more excited about that election than I am this. And, of course, the eventual winner will be a much more important person to us all. Was that true? Is the national or international politician a more important person to your everyday life than your local politician, the person who organises your bins and cleans your streets? There's probably a good argument to say that the larger the remit, the less actual influence they have on your everyday life. You're the politics student. What do you think about that then, Raj? You weren't even listening, were you?
I was.
Thinking about where your next meal's coming from. Hey, I might have something there, though, eh? The more power you have, the less power you actually have. There you go. I want 5,000 words on that on my desk by the morning. It's a no, isn't it? This is LBC 97.3. The number, if you don't have a political party, is 0845 6060 973.
I loved my job until one day.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
The old bag's right. 0845 6060 973. As I'll go back to where I started, because I didn't get through even a quarter of this story, about nothing makes us British people so happy as being... a nice cup of tea. Thanks, Alex.
Moan about that.
I would never moan about stuff like this. You're being generous and kind enough to make me a nice cup of tea. Let's have a quick taste.
The cleaners were watching me while I made it, so I couldn't let it brew. I had to just do it, so sorry if it's weak.
Weak?
Yeah.
You could strip paint with that. Nothing makes the British quite so happy as being miserable. This is what an American has suggested, and this occurred to me as being true when I came back to this country. Now, I did come from a country that is supposedly the happiest country on earth, bar none. Thailand. A country where nobody's got anything at all to speak of, financially, or as far as possessions go. Very, very poor. And I think we almost made an insightful point at the end of this programme, which was a surprise to everyone, me included, that the acquisitive nature of modern Western society, where you're continually searching for the next whatever, thinner, shinier, bigger, smaller, whatever it is, all those shiny, happy people in adverts holding a product that has obviously completed their lives to the point that they're so ecstatic they just might burst. We're all yearning to be one of those people. The problem is, for a system that's based on that, those people don't exist. The people in the adverts, there's no such people. They've been airbrushed to within an inch of their lives. I mean, Kate Moss doesn't look like that, for instance. Every picture I see of Kate Moss, and she's in virtually every single thing you open, is the same. She has obviously decided that she looks best by just... and you can virtually hear the sound that's emanating from her parted lips, because they're always open, have you noticed? Never closed. It's as though she's going, it's the sound and look of gormlessness, as though a thought has never flitted across her tiny brain. She's going... She doesn't exist, as featured in the magazines, and the, as I say, the acquisitive nature of society is not making us happier. It's not a search for pleasure and fulfilment through greater access to consumer goods. Quite the reverse is true. Totally opposite. We are more unhappy and less fulfilled and less satisfied because we're constantly searching for something that's going to complete our lives. It never will. And poorer people, by contrast, still the eating continues.
Oh, I've got them a one a day, haven't I?
One a day. And you're looking so healthy on it.
It's working then.
You see, that's a perfect example of negative humour, right there. Sarcasm dripping out of me. What's wrong with me? I'm British, that's what's wrong, and I'm proud of it.
When I lived abroad, that's the thing I missed the most.
Sarcasm?
Yeah, and people making fun of each other. Because I lived in America and everyone's just so serious.
Yeah.
And falsely sincere. And if you try to make fun of anyone, it just met with
They'll
blank
shoot
stare.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I missed the deprecating humour.
Right, well, you can always, if you leave and you miss it again, you can always take a podcast of this super show.
I will.
Which you can get on lbc.co.uk /LBC Plus. I think that's what it is, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. lbc.co.uk LBC Plus.
Orky/dorky.
I had to pad until I found it. Anyway, back to this. Yeah, by the way, I mean, you can interrupt this monologue, which has been going on for about 40 minutes now, anytime you like. 0845 6060 973. If you want me to actually stop the programme and say, right, from the next hour we'll be discussing abortion, if that's the only way you'll get people to call, then I'll do it. Actually, I won't. I'll just continue to talk for 2.5 hours. The only thing that actually excites people to rush to the phone that I have noticed doing this show is parking. If I said I've had trouble with parking, all 10 lines would be full instantly. Oh, it's terrible, isn't it? And half of them would be cab drivers. Everything else, people are sitting on their hands waiting to be entertained. Shocking, isn't it? And here they all come now. It's an example of that British moaning again, which always produces results. Anyway, so this American, his opinion of us is that we take perverse pleasure, his phrase, from our grumpiness. And as I say, you only realise how what your fellow Brits are like when you leave and come back. And when I came back, I noticed straight away that we are violent. We are. I mean, I wasn't the victim of actual violence, but the threat was in the air with every single person that I came across. You know, the people getting in the lift and trying to get in the train, and some bloke was staring me out on the train. I hadn't even brushed against him. He was sitting with his back to me. He turned around 180 degrees to stare me out. What the hell is that about? And I'm looking at him confused, which made him even angrier. Mad. This is an insane town.
Maybe he felt your stare boring into his back.
But that's it. I wasn't even looking at him. I only started to look at him because at the corner of your eye you can see someone staring at you. It's that thing in a crowded room where you glance around and you catch somebody's eye, and then you look away, and then you glance and you catch their eye again and again, and then you think, what's going on here? Either they love me or they want to kill me.
Well, the first time I went to New York, people said, "Oh, don't make eye contact with anyone, like on the subway or anything." So of course, all you want to do is look at people when someone tells you not to do something. You do it.
Yeah.
And I was just constantly locking eyes with people.
Well, you're lucky to be alive.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello.
But this is what occurred to me, that we do revel in our grumpiness, because everybody on public transport looks, well, apart from grumpy, close to death. There seems to be something wrong with British public transport that is actually killing us. I wouldn't be surprised if in 10 or 20 years we discovered that there is something in the tube that is actually killing us slowly, because nobody looks good on it. Perhaps it's the lighting. No, that can't be it either, because ruddy-faced northerners, when they come down to enjoy a night on London's shiny streets and shout at each other and seem excited beyond measure to be on a train that goes underground. Oh, have you ever known anything like it, Gladys? They look in rude health. Everybody around them looks like they should be calling an ambulance. But the only people who were smiling on the train out of Heathrow and chatting with each other were Italians. And they were standing up and they were mingling. They weren't sitting down, in serried ranks, looking glumly at their shoes. They were, doing Italian things and gesticulating and and all of that stuff that they do. And they actually looked happy to be alive. You can remember being happy to be alive, can't you?
No.
It was a little late. There was a tiny, it was a gap that was just a little too big. Oh, it's the bin man. There's no end of excitement on this show so far. All of it visual. What a shame. Here's, I'll get to the end of that story if it kills me, by the way. I've been trying to read it for 45 minutes. It's only got 3 paragraphs, each of which is 2 inches long. Wolverhampton. Hello, Andy.
Hi, Nick.
Andy.
All right. I'm after your expertise again, please.
Oh, yeah.
What is an internet radio? I've heard you mention them. I mean, I kind of guess what it is, but...
It's a computer that works on Wi-Fi. Basically, it's a Wi-Fi receiver
Right.
that will pick up the signals from your computer. It looks like a transistor radio because you can, some of them are light enough to carry around, but it's not receiving signals from radio waves, it's receiving signals from your base computer at home, which of course is not restricted to what it can receive over the radio waves, it's restricted to what it can receive on the worldwide weight, which is infinitely greater and more varied.
So do you have to be within the vicinity of your computer to use it?
Yeah, or somebody else's.
Oh, right, okay.
Don't steal somebody else's wave band. That's a very bad thing indeed.
Right. Thank you.
But okay, no problem. But they're very good. It's an excellent idea. It hasn't. I think the products themselves need a bit of tweaking, as does all. I've dried. All electronic equipment needs a little bit of tweaking because I think uniquely in the history of humankind, our imaginings of what products should be and how they should work is actually it's not uniquely, is it? Is faster than they can, is sort of more advanced than they can actually make them. But I think that the making of them is I think this is the unique part, is the making of them is catching up to our imagination, such that every now and again we're surprised. Like the iPhone, for instance, was a bit of a surprise. Mostly, we wish things were smaller, more flexible, thinner, and more portable. And in 10, 20 years' time, they come up with it. Now, it's virtually a neck-and-neck race for the people that are inventing things and our imaginings of them. But Wi-Fi radios will shortly, as will everything electric, be constantly attached to the net, and we'll have a big touch screen that you can just dial up everything. At the moment, they've got one of those tiny little. It looks like like a digital watch that you used to have to press the button to tell what the time was. It looks a bit like that, but it'll get much better. Just wait 6 months, and they'll be half the price and twice as good. 8:16. LBC Travel with Karen Mercer.
It's looking busy on the A4.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Right, so far it's about being grumpy, and I still haven't got to the end of this story. It's coming up on an hour of continuous speaking from me. 0845 6060 973. In fact, there's 3 columns long, this story. Each column is about 2 inches. I haven't even got to the end of the first column yet. In almost an hour, I haven't read an inch of a story. Look at that. That's how small that story is. And I haven't got even a third of the way through it yet. This one tiny story is going to give me enough material for a whole show. You realise this, Raj? Oh, calm me down. So this is what this chap is saying. That it's not that we're just unhappy. It's that we seek unhappiness. Unhappiness is what makes us happy here. We don't feel fulfilled and contented unless we're miserable, which is really bizarre if you think about it. You don't even have to think about it. It's just shouting at you. It's so weird. He says, I feel sorry for Brits. This chap who's written a book, Mr. Wiener. Wiener. It's too strange that he would be called Whiner, so I'm going to call him Wiener, because it's a funnier word. For the British, he says, happiness is a transatlantic import. He previously had said that the happy in this country are few and regarded by others as suspect. And there's a giant amount of truth in that. If you go on the tube and you smile at people, people will instantly think, what's he smiling at? And they won't be happy that you're smiling. They'll want to hit you because of it. What are you smiling at? Well, will be their reaction. In other countries, in Thailand, for instance, the reaction will be to smile back. Because that's the kind of people they are. Here, they'll want to just eviscerate you for your happiness.
The exception, though, is if you go on the tube after 11 p.m. on a Friday or Saturday night. Because then everyone is drunk, and then they suddenly, it's like, it turns around. People come out of the king, and you speak to random people.
Really? You speak to people that you don't know?
Yeah, you get
Are you insane?
People talk to each other at that time.
It's a long time since I travelled the tube at that time, because I have no life.
I've had people telling me jokes and stuff on the train.
People usually say to me, "Oh, cheer up, mate. It'll never happen."
That's what I had. I had the bloke sit down next to me, and he's like, "What's wrong with you, mate?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Here's a couple of jokes for you, so cheer you up."
He says, for the British, happiness is a transatlantic import, and by transatlantic they mean American, and by American they mean silly, infantile drivel. Britain is a great place for grumps, and most Brits, I suspect, he says, derive a perverse pleasure from their grumpiness. It's true. On the train coming back, there he is, yawning in my face again. Every time I look up, he's eating, laughing at something I haven't said, or he'll just look at me, and you think, oh, there's a quizzical look on his face. Is he going to pass gas? What's going to happen now? And he'll just open his mouth and yawn right in my face. Can you believe that, Alex? This is what I come back to. Help! I'm being abused! Well, it's my fault. This is an unexciting programme to work on. I should be ashamed. He says the 5 happiest places in the whole wide world are... You ready? Write this down. Bhutan. Where's that? Bhutan. I want you to Google that for me. In fact, pull up the CIA database. I'm not kidding. The CIA page and get us information on Bhutan. Because I'm looking for my next holiday destination, and I've got to go somewhere happier than this. I could go and take a holiday in Raj's brain. It seems happy. So, Bhutan, we're going to get some information on that. Iceland. I thought everybody was killing themselves in Iceland. Excuse me. Oh, that's Sweden, isn't it? Iceland, that's where that crazy woman Bjork comes from. And who would want to meet her at the airport? Thailand, where I've just come from, which is flat out Happy. They're fit to burst, they're so happy. India, which I have no knowledge of, and Switzerland. Switzerland? Happy? Are they? Happy. Switzerland. I'm not sure that's correct at all. They're free of general crime, and their streets are clean, and there's no chewing gum plastered all over the pavements. But happy. Contented, perhaps, and wealthy, but I don't think that equals happy. Here you are, Bhutan. Bhutan. Can I control this page? Because there's a lot of information on here. Where's my little mouse? Come out, wherever you are. Squeak, squeak. Why are they called... I suppose because they look like mice. A stupid question. Fortunately, I didn't ask the question, so you can't, I stopped myself just in time.
Were you thinking aloud then and realised you were on the radio?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I'm on the radio. In 1865, Britain and Bhutan signed the Treaty of Sinchulu, which is one of my favourite treaties, by the way. Under which Bhutan... I don't care about any of that. Where is it? There's a map of China with Bhutan not on it. The CIA are rubbish. They don't know anything. Location, Southern Asia, between China and India. I knew that. It must be microscopic. Well, I don't want to go there. Mostly mountainous, some fertile valleys and savanna. Half the size of India. Good grief. Bhutan is half the size of India. India is a very large place indeed. 47,000 square miles. It's huge. Do you want to know the geographic coordinates? I assume no. Coastline. It doesn't have any. Bhutans don't surf.
I like how it's landlocked. It sounds so disappointing.
I know, doesn't it? They do timber and hydropower and gypsum. Look up gypsum on the internet and tell me what that is. I've got no idea. They've got violent storms, soil erosion, and they've just about 2.5 million people. Each and every one of them is fit to burst. They're so happy. Now it says there was an error sending data to the Phone Box 2 server. Does that mean I can't get any calls?
You've broken it.
Oh, now, look at his face. So miserable.
It's because he has to get out of his chair.
Get up, yeah. Stop eating and come in here and do something. Look at that. I'd had all of those nice calls. Now what have you done? Press OK. Now the screen goes totally blank and comes back again. Wow. You're sensational. A round of applause for Raj. He actually fixed something by pressing the word OK on a computer screen twice. Here's call in Kent. Oh, Donna. That doesn't sound fixed to me, mate.
No, it's not.
No. Hang on a minute. Stop speaking. I'll come back to you in a second. All right. So, Donna.
Hello.
Hey, I did that. That was me, Rod. I fixed that.
Did you? Well done.
I know. What's the out here?
Pardon?
Not you, Donna. What's the out? 28:35. Okay, you got 35 seconds.
Oh, what?
Isn't that shocking? I'll tell you what, we'll set up the call. This will be very exciting. We'll tease across the break. This is what you're supposed to do in radio in order to get people to listen to the adverts.
Improvise, yeah.
So we'll talk about what you're going to talk about, and then we'll talk about it. Okay.
Okey-doke.
So what's the nature of the call?
The nature of the call was to say, I'm glad you had a nice holiday in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever been to Alaska?
Right. Well, I don't really want to talk about that. No. Hang on a minute. I will talk about that. We'll come right back.
This is LBC
97.3. It's 8:30.
Let's get back to it.
And it, in this case, is Donna in Gravesend.
Yeah, I've been called that many a time.
Oh, hey, Donna.
Hiya.
So
Nick, I've got to tell you this as well. My boyfriend thinks you're absolutely fantastic.
Well, I won't lie to you, Donna.
I didn't think you would.
Completely right. Yeah.
And your colleague and friend who stood in for you done a very good job, apparently.
Yeah. I'm sure he did.
Yes.
He's very good.
I like Anthony, yeah. He's a good boy. He makes me laugh, anyway.
Well, you've got to have a laugh, ain't you?
Pardon?
Never mind.
Do I have a laugh?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what you were saying?
Do I sound common, then? Yeah, Alaska. Have you never been to Alaska?
No, it doesn't really appeal.
Why? Because it's not hot?
The reverse of that is because it's very cold.
It's not very cold.
Oh, it really is.
No, it's not very, very cold.
Don't you have to go there in sort of July and August for it not to be covered in snow?
Yes, it's quite nice then, though.
Yeah, but see, in July and August, the insects come out. They have insects, I'm not exaggerating, Donna, as big as a Volkswagen.
Yeah, they're the little wagons that they travel around in.
So, no, it doesn't... when you get there, what's that?
Well, no, I was going to suggest a cruise, actually, because we cruised to Alaska last year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Honestly, Nick, you'd love it.
A cruise.
A cruise.
Now, I know that Anthony goes on cruises all the time, but
does he?
Yeah, he's cruise crazy.
Oh, we love it, yeah.
I couldn't stand it.
Oh.
Being trapped in a bad hotel with a lot of people that you can't escape from. Which part of that is good? I don't get it.
No, it's not like that at all. But talking about your Thailand holiday, we had, on board the ship you get a lot of Filipinos and Thai people.
Yeah.
Who are the your stewardesses in the rooms and that, come and clean the rooms.
Yeah.
And you're right, they don't stop smiling.
I know. What have they got to be so happy about?
I don't know, bless them, but we thought they were acting.
Yeah, exactly.
They were just putting it on for tips and stuff, but
precisely.
They're like it all the time.
I know. And when I got to Thailand, they do... It's such a culture shock that I thought... I mean, because before I went, I knew that they call it the land of 1,000 smiles. But everyone's smiling at you all the time. I did think, well, they're just putting this on because we're tourists and I'm staying in a nice hotel. But you go outside and you see the street vendors who are standing there in their bare feet selling chickens gizzards on a stick, and they're smiling too.
Don't know. Well, maybe that's because they're happy. Maybe they're happy with their lives. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. I should have asked one.
Yeah.
Why are you happy?
I wonder if they're on
Probably, yeah. Probably, yeah.
Happy Backy or something.
No, I wouldn't think so. They're very strict about that.
Are they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, Donna, cruises. No.
Oh, Nick, honestly, you can't knock it till you've tried it. Have you never tried one?
No.
It's not... I thought it'd be someone in your face all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, you
It's
can't...
not.
It's...
You don't see them from... You don't see the same people.
Well, you must do. How long is a cruise to Alaska? It must take forever.
Oh, we fly to... you fly to America.
Right.
We've done America...
Even so, I mean, to go from any point in mainland America... Oh, did you fly to Alaska?
No, we flew to Seattle the first time and then San Francisco.
Right, well, okay, well, even from Seattle, that must be... I don't know, how wide is Canada? It's almost as wide as the States themselves. It's at least 1,000 miles, isn't it?
Yeah, it takes 10 hours to get there.
And
then overnight...
And only then your holiday starts.
And then you stay overnight in a hotel. No, because it's just all intriguing anyway.
I suppose.
And San Francisco is another one. Like I mean, I didn't think I'd like America, but I want to live out there now. Or Canada. Canada's nice as well.
Canada is like America without any of the interest, isn't it?
Yeah. It's cleaner.
Cleaner, yeah. I knew you were going to say that. Cleaner, yeah. I've never been, but that's what I hear.
But that's the same with Alaska and America. I think. Like when we went to San Francisco, everything's so fresh and clean, and your skin, everything breathes. It's lovely. And you come back here, and it's just dust.
Yeah.
Dust and more.
Well,
dust.
don't sit on the fence, Donna. Tell us what you think. Disgusting, you say.
But it's true. It is.
Well, it is true. You come back and everything's grey for a start, and everything
horrible,
is.
And everyone's miserable.
Well, I know that. Well, that's been the
bloody Heathrow Airport. You walk into there and you just think, oh, cool. Let's go back to America.
Yeah, you do. You want to go straight back to the ticket desk and
absolutely
get on the next flight out.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I can be persuaded to take a cruise.
Alaska, no.
Alaska is so way down on the list. I think I'd go to Bhutan first. Thanks a lot, Donna.
All right, Nick, you take care, darling.
Ta-ra.
Take care, bye.
0845 6060 973. You ever been on a cruise?
No, I can't think of anything worse.
No, I can't either. I mean, Anthony, who's doing the show for the last couple of weeks, he has extolled their virtues, but I just don't get it. Being trapped with a bunch of buffet bashers in a hotel you can't leave, that just sounds horrific.
And you're expected to make friends, aren't you?
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't just sit on a big table for people and not talk to any of them.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like being at a wedding.
Well, that's the thing about me, is I'm a people person.
You can chat to Rodney and Sheila from Cleethorpes or something.
I mean, I'd have all my food sent to the room. I'd never leave. And the thing with, even if you've got a balcony, there's no view. The view is unchanging. It's of a horizon with water from it to there.
You could go and play shuffle on the shuffle deck or whatever.
I think I'd rather shuffle off. Here's Berkhamsted. Hello, Chris.
Hi.
Chris.
I'm quite surprised, well, two things. One, it won't last, your newfound happiness.
Right.
It's a temporary thing.
Yeah, it never does.
You know, another 2 weeks of listening to us lot and living in London, that's it. You're doomed, mate.
Oh, don't worry, mate. My holiday happiness disappeared the second I stepped into Heathrow. It did.
Yeah, the other thing, I'm surprised the Home Office let you back in, really.
Why is that?
Well, you know, you're being a bit of a rebel.
A rebel?
Well, you speak the truth, don't you, see, which a lot of people don't like. Anyway, I can do grumpy.
I bet you can.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy. I'm a happy person now. I mean, I live in a village. I was born in South London.
Berkhamsted, that's quite nice there, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's a lot of rich people.
Leafy and green.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't live in Berkhamsted. I live in a village outside Berkhamsted, which is even nicer.
Okay.
Which was actually here before Berkhamsted arrived. But we don't tell the Berkhamsted people that.
I bet you do.
No, yes, any opportunity. Yeah, no, I travel up to London sometimes, and I can get quite grumpy up there now. I mean, I talk to everyone. I'm registered as blind now, so I mean, I couldn't care less, you know. I mean, I've still got some vision.
Right.
And I went out with a pal of mine, he comes from Wembley originally, and he goes mad, you know, why are you talking to people? I thought, why not? We talk to people in the village. And
it's very much, yeah, there's a giant difference between village life and city life.
Yeah.
And part of it, sorry, go on.
Sorry, no, carry on.
But part of it is survival. If you, I mean, the obvious example is if you're walking down a country lane and somebody comes past you, they're the only person you've seen in half an hour, it would be odd if you didn't acknowledge their presence in some way. Just say,
that's quite right.
Morning, whatever you country folk say. In the city, on the other hand, if you're walking down the street, if you say morning to everybody that passes you, you'd be out of breath by the time you've taken 10 paces.
But London never used to be like that. I mean, I'm 59, unfortunately, this year, which is great, because you can be as grumpy as you like the older you get, and I really love it.
That's true.
Get away with it. I'm looking forward to my old age. I'm really going to be grumpy. But, no, it's great, But, no, London has changed so much, it's really not for the better, I don't think.
Well, I don't think that acknowledging people in the street or I was going to say neighbours, but perhaps that's not quite true, but acknowledging people who pass by or people on transport, I don't think that's to change much, because you can't acknowledge everybody, because you'd be saying hello to everyone.
I don't think that's what I was saying. What I was saying is, if you do actually talk to people, I have some great conversations with people in London, on the tubes, on the trains, anywhere.
Well, and when that happens... Sorry, mate. We're talking over each other all the time.
Don't worry. I do it all the time.
But when that happens, you're quite right. And I almost never do it. The only time I will talk to a stranger is if I happen to get caught up in a conversation that happens around me and I'm in the middle of it, which happened today at the supermarket. And when you do have a little conversation with strangers, you break a little bit of ice, and it doesn't amount to much. It's just you flap gums. It's like birds sitting on a branch. You're just tweeting away for a little bit. You come away and you actually feel uplifted. You think, well, nothing really happened there. We didn't talk about anything. Didn't even exchange names. But because you connected with another human being.
But it is something about the city now, and London in general. I mean, when you meet people on holiday, I mean, I've go quite often to the Canary Islands.
Oh, yeah.
And you meet people from all over the country, London, everywhere. People, because they're on holiday, people tell you their life stories.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. But do you like talking to British people on abroad?
No, I don't. I'm totally embarrassed by them. Yeah. Luckily, I tan quite well, so I just pretend I'm Greek or Italian. No, they're total embarrassment.
Because I could wear a neon sign on my head and not look more English.
Just a quick example. A few years ago, I went on holiday to Greece, and I picked the wrong resort. It was a very similar sounding name, but anyway, we ended up in the wrong one.
Yeah.
And there were just ignorant British people out there.
Right.
We saw them on the plane, and they're down the shops buying their fake designer gear, walking around as if they look. And it was a very, very poor part of Greece, one of the islands.
Yeah,
very, very
shouting beer monsters, right?
Yeah, that's right. These were middle-aged, middle-aged people, not youngsters. People who should have known better. And there was one particular shop, and there's this terrific Greek bloke in there, a real character. And he let people have credit. And on the night we were flying back, there was these people saying, no, I won't say the words they used, but derogatory about the Greeks. We haven't paid. And I thought, well, how ignorant can you be? That man's trusted you, and you ripped him off. And, I'm embarrassed to be British.
Absolutely. Every time I go abroad, I hate hearing the sound of British voices, because I feel... first of all...
they moan about the food, they moan about this. Well, why go abroad, you know?
First of all, you go abroad to escape Britain for a start, so you don't want Britain. You don't want Britain following you around like a bad smell. But also,
and the other thing is, you should respect the country and the people
absolutely,
and their culture.
Completely.
No matter where it is in the world, But the British go there; they think they still own the world.
Up to
I know I'm terribly generalising.
Well, all generalisations have a scintilla, at least, of truth about them.
Yeah.
Chris, I've got to.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Thanks a lot. Cheers, mate. Ta-ra. 0845 6060 973. I had to go because it's 8:45. And here is LBC Travel with Karen Mercer.
Do you mind if I say a few words? Thank you.
We have a How Low auction which is on at the moment with a Sony Vaio laptop up for grabs. Judith Simpson won one on LBC recently with a bid of 9 pence. Which is considerably less than the manufacturer's recommended price. This thing has the latest functionality as well as a stylish design. It looks fabulous even when it's off. It's got a high definition picture on a 15.4-inch widescreen display. It has 1 GB RAM, because we only want British sheep in our computers. And 120 gigabyte hard drive, which lets you download, no end of stuff. It has 3.75 hour battery life. It comes wireless enabled. It's got the lot. It's a Sony Vaio laptop. To bid text LBC plus your bid in pence to 88821. If it was £1.23, you would text LBC 123 to 88821. Bids cost £1.50 plus your standard network rate. Lines close 6:30pm tomorrow. Bidders must be over 16. See lbc.co.uk for full terms and conditions. Isn't that right, Joan?
Oh, yes. Whatever you said, I have to agree. Especially, what was it?
Especially the end.
Wireless enabled or something.
Yeah. Oh.
And I thought, I wonder how that is. It must be wonderful.
It is. Oh, I can't express in words how wonderful it is to be wirelessly enabled, Joan.
Won't be me, though. Well, I am, haven't I? It's the wireless, isn't it?
It is, and you are
enabled.
Yeah, it's quite.
Do something.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about you when you were talking about Raj and Alex, and you were getting upset because they were talking about you, maybe, and they were laughing, and they could have been about you, and. And it reminded me, actually, you know, I could see you had the sensitivity of an artist.
I am sensitive, yes.
Yeah, and it reminded me of David Lean.
David who?
David Lean. The very,
Matter of Life and Death.
The famous director, film director. And he had made these fantastic films, and he got awards, and everybody thought he was wonderful, and he went on like that for years. And then he made Ryan's Daughter.
Did he?
Which I think was one of the best films ever in my life.
Well, you see, the thing with Ryan's Daughter is it has a woman's name in the title, and that always indicates a fascinating movie.
Boring!
What are you talking about? Ryan? Oh, Daughter. Do you mean Daughter? Ryan's Daughter isn't a woman's name.
No, but it's Ryan's Daughter. It's surely a woman.
Well, it was very emotional.
Oh, emotional. Say no more. Yeah.
Oh, did you not see it then?
No, I did not. No, that's the one where she's standing in the rain with the one she loves.
Well,
There's that song.
There are a whole lot of things happening in that. Yeah. It's just a fantastic film.
Any car chases or explosions?
No.
No.
Oh, no, but there were worse things going on.
Right.
And anyway, afterwards, the critics took against him for one reason or another. And one critic in particular said something rather personal. Mm-hmm. Really running him down. Do you know he was so upset he didn't make another film for 14 years?
Well, it's an odd thing with people who are artistic, is that 1,000 people praising you is knocked out by one person saying a bad thing.
Yeah, just hitting the wrong nail on the head, as it were. Yeah.
Because you accentuate the negative. You do. I mean, you could have an entire audience of 1 million people on their feet cheering you on.
Yeah.
But if one person at the front is going boo, that's the only thing you hear.
I think that's right. But it shouldn't, it shouldn't be like that. I think he should have kept going no matter what. But it just knocked him for 6. I think what we missed in those 14 years.
Well, quite.
But, I would definitely advise you to see Ryan's Daughter.
Yeah. There's too many films in the world, Joan, without seeing a chick flick.
Well, all right. What have you against it?
It's a chick flick, isn't it? Not meaning to be
insensitive.
I
didn't know that at the time.
Right.
Because
it's about love, isn't it?
Oh, yes, about love. It is about love.
Is
you
Arnold...
never ever see a film about love, then?
Well, is Arnold Schwarzenegger in it?
No.
Then I don't want to see it. Actually, I saw some tremendous films on the plane. And the first was that new Brad Pitt thing, the assassination of Jesse James by the coward, what's it known? It's this really long, far too long a name for a film. No one can ever remember the name of the second bloke. But that's very good, very slow. But it draws you right in. Perfect film to see on a plane because it takes up a lot of time.
Well, I think the one I saw about Jesse James years and years ago, being a woman, you might have thought, well, she wouldn't want to see that. But I did enjoy it very much because, of course, there is an emotional thing in there.
Is there?
Yeah, of course it's emotional.
I must have been in the loo.
Well, did you only see shooting then?
Well, there wasn't much. There wasn't any love in this new movie. We can't be talking about the same film, Joe.
You can have emotion about a person, can't you? A man actually has an emotional being, hasn't he?
I suppose so.
And so you've got to feel something for that man. Otherwise, do you care if he gets shot or not?
Well, yes, you're absolutely right there, yeah.
You have to care
but
about
it's not
the
a
person.
love story.
No,
But
I didn't say it was a love story.
But we're
did
not
I?
talking about the same film. But I recommend that you see that new film. But even better than that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it won quite a few awards at the Oscars, which I don't think anybody saw this year, did they? It sort of came and went, and nothing really happened. Was No Country for Old Men. Oh, it is great. It's a Coen Brothers movie. Now, I think that they've made some of the greatest movies I've ever seen. They did Fargo and Blood Simple, and then I start to run out.
And so you think even a girl would like that?
Not necessarily, no. There's not. It's not very feminine film at all, but it does have one of the all-time great screen baddies in it. Like there's certain movie psychos that have stuck in the memory and become part of the. Oh, blimey! I'm going to use the Z word. No, I'm not. I'm going to back off using the Z word. One of those words that people who write for the NME use all the time. Zeitgeist. Well, I'm not going to say it.
Oh, no.
I know. Awful.
I
Hate
that
that
so
word.
often.
It's a guy, the chap, the character is played by, and I'm not sure this is how you pronounce his name, but it's Javier Bardem.
Oh, I think that's Javier, isn't it?
Probably. And he won the supporting actor Oscar. And his performance as the bad guy in that film is just mesmerising. He's right up there in my book with Frank.
And do you hate him all the way through as a bad guy, right to the end? Does he get killed?
Well, I'm not going to tell you that.
Oh.
Does
I've
he
got to know
get
that.
killed? I'm not going to tell you that. But he's right up there with Frank. I can't remember what his second name is in Blue Velvet. You know,
Blue Velvet.
The character played by Dennis.
Him.
Dennis Hopper. Thank you.
Yes.
My second favourite movie of all time. Couldn't remember his name. Yeah, he's right up there with Dennis Hopper as one of the all-time great cinema psychos. It is great. You've got to go and see it.
Did they have cinemas in Thailand?
Yes.
Were they nice cinemas?
I didn't go in one.
All right. It was too hot.
No, inside the cinema it would have been freezing blooming cold because everywhere you go inside it's
Actually, I'm rather
icicles.
glad I'm very pleased you've blown the myth on Thailand because everybody has ever spoken to me about Thailand has said it's absolutely wonderful. I have to go back and back and back.
Well, I don't think I have blown the myth on it, have I? I've been relatively positive.
Be a bit honest.
Well, I didn't like Bangkok. I think Bangkok is a properly hideous city and no one should go there except for maybe a couple of days because they've got what might be the two best bars in the world, both of which are outdoors on the 60-some floors up outside. And at night, Bangkok is much better looking because you can't see it. You can just see the twinkly lights. And those two bars alone are worth the making that as a stop-off to go somewhere else. But Phuket is lovely.
Yeah.
And they're such nice people, you just feel that people should go and give them money.
But should people be that nice all the time?
Well, yeah, you know what? If it's not being put on, if you just are that content...
Yes, and it certainly wasn't...
Then it's something to shoot for, don't you think? I mean, I'd actually rather be smiley and content than miserable and depressed all the time.
Yes, if they are genuinely content.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a marvellous thing. But
Well-
I mean, I've found that other countries like Spain and Italy and Bulgaria, you know, people don't smile a lot at all there, so I don't think we're any worse than an awful lot of countries.
Well, it's probably because they see the British coming and then fix their face with a frown.
Well,
Listen,
funny
Joan, the new news is coming up and I've got to go.
Right.
But thanks a
Bye-bye.
lot. It's nice talking to you again.
Nice
Ta-ra.
talking to you again.
Cheers, my dear. It's
Bye-bye.
LBC 97.3. I'm Nick Abbott. Be back after this break.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Well, that's true. So about, what was it, like 8-10 hours ago we started this programme, I was talking about this article, and I still haven't got to the end of it. I've only just reached the end of the first column, which is only 2 inches long. Only another 4 inches to go. It's about us being grumpy. Some bloke called Eric Weiner in America. Actually, they have sausages in America called Wieners, don't they? There's no end of amusement can be had about that. Eric Weiner, an American, he says, we're a nation of victim elders taking a perverse pleasure from our grumpiness. He says he feels sorry for us. The happy are few and regarded by others as suspect. For the British, happiness is a transatlantic import. We wallow in it. And on that subject, this is calling East London. Hello, Anita.
Hi.
Anita.
Can you hear me?
Quite. Are we on speakerphone?
No.
Okay.
Okay, I'll try to talk.
Oh, that's better.
Louder. Okay. How is your jet lag?
It's actually, I felt better this morning, and then I had a little nap, and now I feel a lot worse. But I'll be, I've righted myself by the weekend.
It's going to be fine. Actually, first time we are talking.
Right.
Wanting to tell you that because of you I started listening to LBC.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe it will make you feel better.
A little bit. Not a lot, to be honest, but a bit.
What a bit. I just cannot believe you take seriously this article of this American guy.
Well, which part of England are you from, Anita?
I'm not from England, that's the point.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I moved to this country.
Yeah.
2 months ago. I decided to live here because here in this city, among these people, I feel happy.
Right, and where did you come from?
Armenia.
Armenia?
Yeah.
And how are the people in Armenia?
It's what you're describing about Brits. I can say the same.
What, they're miserable?
Actually, life is hard there. That's how I explain
but you know what?
They are this way.
Yeah, but 5 of the happiest places named by this chap are Bhutan, which is between China and India, and is a mountainous country where life must be very hard indeed, and Thailand, which is a very poor place. So is India. Those are the 3 of the 5 places that he says are the happiest countries in the world.
Yeah,
so more than half, huh?
Smiling don't mean that people are happy.
Well,
yep.
It's a fairly good indicator, you'd have to say.
I don't know. Always smiling is also strange, you know.
Yes, well...
So I just wanted to say that I disagree about the Brits. They're wonderful people.
Right. And what is it that struck you most? What is it? What is it about us that has made the greatest impression?
No, I just feel very comfortable. I feel home.
And you've only been here for 2 months.
My nerves. Yeah, I've been here before. That's why I decided to move over here. Yeah, so you don't know, I guess, how lucky you are.
Well, that is very true.
Complaining, yeah, there are many, many places there. Life much harder, people ruder, and it's not fun at all.
Okay.
So be proud and happy that you are British.
Yeah, and stop whining. Yeah, you're right. Okay, well, thanks a lot, Anita.
Yeah, sure, and you are great.
All right, cheers, my dear. Ta-ra.
Right.
0845 6060 973. A lot of truth was just said. We don't know how lucky we are, and only when you go to somewhere that is significantly poorer, like Thailand, do you realise what we've got here. People bitch and moan and whine about their car isn't working and the buses have got to stand here at the bus stop for another 5 minutes and the train is late and the traffic is a bit bad. I tell you what, you've never seen traffic in your life like they got in Bangkok. It is incredible. Every time you there's a major artery just outside the hotel, and at any time of the day or night, utterly stationary traffic for as far as the eye could see. We had dinner reservations at sort of 8 o'clock when people go out and eat. You leave an hour before your reservation and you will not get there because you were just stuck in traffic at 8 at night. No, nothing goes anywhere in Bangkok on the roads. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It is the worst place to have a car I've ever seen.
Even if you're in a tuk-tuk?
Oh, tuk-tuks go nowhere. Even if you're on a scooter, you're in a scooter jam.
Tuk-tuks, the little three-wheeler things?
Yes, there can be three-wheelers, they can be fours. They're basically, if you don't know what a tuk-tuk is, it's basically like a small shed on a go-kart. driven by a maniac. With open sides. There's no windows. It's all open to the elements. Yeah. They're a crazy form of transport. And you're not entirely sure whether you'll arrive alive wherever you may be going.
That sounds great.
Yeah. And bizarrely, they seem to be more expensive than a cab, or maybe they just saw us coming. Cabs they're virtually giving away, particularly in Bangkok. You can travel, and you're listening to this, London cabbies, you can travel from one end of the town to the next for about 30 pence. That's right. Here is a call in Bermondsey. Hello, Peter.
Good evening, Nick.
Peter.
Yeah, did our Carol lead you astray, suggesting Thai at all?
She has been one of the many people that have suggested it.
Yeah.
But I've never heard a bad word against it. So
No.
I thought, I've got to try it.
Yeah, well, you know, you were saying about food. One of my old governors, he's had family out in Oz, and part of the flying deal was to stay in Thai a day or so, and he was very adventurous on food.
Yeah.
And I said to him, what's Thai food like, Tony? He said, well, I think they sweep it up out of the gutter, put it in a wok, and pour oil over it. He said it was absolutely disgusting.
Well, it depends where you buy it. I mean, if you buy it from the street, which I think a lot of people who live in, like the locals, funnily enough, well, it's not funny, people in Thailand don't have kitchens.
No.
I think, as a generalisation, that is true. They don't cook for themselves. Everybody eats every meal out.
Yeah.
And not in, fancy restaurants that tourists go to. They eat it on the streets. They just huddle around a guy with a, like a wheelbarrow type of thing.
I think, as you imply, though, Nick, it's the fact that they probably can't afford the situations that we've developed for ourselves and we take for granted. And
yes.
I think with the food, a great deal of Far East food, it's westernised, isn't it? I mean, chicken tikka, we're assured, is not actually an Indian dish. It's westernised. Then years ago you had what was called chow mein, which again was westernised food. And I suppose until like the certain parts of Asia, their main dish is always fish, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
fish, chicken, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I think basically that's where we're drifted onto, that, and we just don't, nobody does appreciate. And similarly, as you were saying about the Americans saying what miserable gits we are, I think it depends on where. I mean, most, like Parisians, have got the same people.
Yeah, they do.
And I think they're sick and the sight and sound of foreigners. And I suppose it's like London, it's, to hear an English accent in London now is a rarity.
I'm not sure that you're right there. There is an element of that. I mean, I think we spread our misery around when we encounter foreigners, and the Parisians certainly do. But as with Paris, we spread our misery around regardless. We're not unhappy because foreigners are around. We're just unhappy. Period.
No, I think, and I tell you what, it is our drunks who give us a terrible name. I mean, we used to do Italy a great deal in Riccione area, and the pensione we stayed. He said we tried to keep away the thugs. I mean, the only time they had the thugs there was in '90 when the World Cup was out that way.
Right.
And he said what we try and do is we don't try and price so that we draw these people to. He said Spain basically created their own problem by doing that.
By being so cheaply.
Yeah, being so cheap.
Yeah, that's right.
And the ironies was, though, Nick, when my kids were young, we used to do caravan parks, and this was, say, in the early 70s, and all the youngsters would go in there, taking the caravans, having a good time of it all, and they were creating mayhem. So the caravan parks decided basically to stop the youngsters going on meth, and then we had the 18 to 30.
18 to 30, and then
so
the mayhem went there.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all, so tragically, the Spanish did us a favour by having all these thugs, and I think it is them that give us a bad name. I mean, it's the same with our girls. They go out there, they're a little bit loose, let's put it sort of politely, and our girls give all the other girls a bad name who go out there.
Well, loose takes two, Peter.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Okay, mate.
Cheers. The thing that I found most surprising about Thailand is something that I will tell you after this break. Isn't that exciting? I'm really getting the hang of this whole radio thing now, eh? 9:15. LBC Travel with Karen Mercer.
I'm just getting...
I really like you. Do you like me?
No. The thing that I found most surprising about Thailand was that the food in Thailand tastes exactly the same as Thai food does here. I expected it to be totally different, but it's just the same. I had one world-class outstanding meal in the 2 weeks that I was there. Everything else was okay. It was all right. Wine is bizarrely massively expensive there. You drink beer with your food, and they're practically giving the meal away. But you choose wine, and you are dipping into your pocket hugely. But that's that was the kind of slight disappointment, because I expected it to be a taste sensation from the moment I got there. But it actually really wasn't. Marbell, Barnet.
Hello, Nick.
Hi,
I'm nice to hear about your... Sorry?
How are you going?
I'm going really well. I'm nice to hear about your holiday. Sorry about the food and not exactly impressed with Bangkok, is that right?
I didn't... Bangkok's an ugly, dirty, polluted city of little interest, yes.
Oh, dear. Well, and the Thai Tourist Board are paying you how much? You had a relaxing time, though, when you got to Phuket, is that right?
Well, yes, after I got in the frame of mind of having a relaxing holiday, because I've never done one of those before. I've never been one of those people that just sit on their bottom all day and just read and stare out to sea. I've never done that. And
you're more of an adventure type, are you?
Yeah, or just like a city type of thing where you go to museums and attractions and so on.
Okay. Oh right. Okay.
But just sitting doing nothing actually takes a real change of mind of the frame of mind that you're in, and it took me a day or so. I thought, this is what we're doing. We're not doing anything. This is boring. And I looked around me, and that's what everybody else was doing too. Nothing, just deciding where you were going to eat that night. And after you decide that that's what you're doing, nothing, then you think, oh, actually, yeah, I get this.
Sounds like paradise to me.
Well, yeah.
Sitting back and relaxing and doing nothing after the stress and strains of London.
When I got there, I wanted to leave after a couple of days. I really did almost have to hold myself back from calling up the airline and saying I'm coming back early. But at the end, I didn't want to come back, so there it is.
So you relaxed and enjoyed it in the end?
Yes.
Okay, I'll tell you why I phoned, Nick. Talking to your neighbours, saying good morning, being sociable.
Right.
Okay, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with saying hello to someone that you pass 3 or 4 times in your little area? You're not going to tell them your life story, okay? It's just being friendly. It's just being courteous to someone that you see walking around, you recognise, you say hello, you might have a little chat about general things, or you might just say hello, you might just smile.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
It's uplifting. No, I mean it. It is uplifting, and it happened to me today, which it almost never does, because I never speak to anybody, ever really, except on the radio. But you're right about that. There's a lot of people that you don't know that you see a lot. Like people in shops that you visit on a regular basis, or people at the gym, for instance, or, just anywhere that you go on a regular basis. You don't know them, but you just see them every day.
Exactly.
And you pretend that you've never seen them before.
Well,
right?
People look at the floor, look at the ceiling, look at the wall,
yeah.
And I think, what's so interesting about the ceiling? Do you know what I mean? I just think it's really... there's some people you can tell, Nick, that if you're going to say good morning or smile, their body language is so aggressive, you wouldn't go near them with a barge pole, right? So there are people that I walk past that I've seen around, and I just think, there's nothing but hatred coming out of them.
Yeah.
It just oozes out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other people...
They're probably talk show hosts.
Keep away from me, you're a person, I don't want to know you.
Yeah.
But there are other people that you can... I mean, I had a really funny experience tonight. There's this guy that walks his dog, and this dog sort of, he protects the road where you walk down, and I was walking behind him, so he didn't see me, and the dog didn't see me, but the dog still barked. Exactly. And when I met him later on, he sort of said, were you walking in this road? And I said, yeah. And he just turned around, and it really made me laugh after a terrible day of job hunting. And he just turned around, he goes, oh yeah. He said, well, my dog's a real leg man. And it was funny. It was really funny. I roared with laughter. And I had a terrible day. Now, this is someone that I wouldn't know from Adam if I just hadn't said hello. And it was funny. It cheered me up. And I just thought, you know, everybody has good days and bad days, but why do we have to look like we want to kill each other all the time?
To spread a little bit of happiness uplifts you immeasurably. It really does. Like I was saying, this happened to me today. This is the sort of thing that never happens to me. I got caught up in a conversation in the queue at Sainsbury's.
Oh, right.
The woman behind said something to the cashier about, what was it? It was, they're giving away vouchers for schools.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And the woman says, do you want the voucher? And I said, no. And the woman behind me, she said, can I have them? And then suddenly I was caught up in a conversation with, shouldn't the government be doing this? Why are we having to collect vouchers for schools? Isn't that what we pay our taxes for? And the person behind the counter was going, yeah, but, it doesn't really matter who's in. They're all the bleeding same. And suddenly we were having a little moment here. And we were all... the woman behind the counter was, she was a bit nervous about joining in this conversation, this political conversation with two customers she didn't know. And you could see it in her eyes, as, have I overstepped the mark? There might be a conservative political candidate or, a Labour, there might be Ken's best friend that's standing in front of me. But we all had a little sort of we dipped our toes in the waters of human of interaction. And I came away feeling like I was walking on air. Oh, I've just talked to someone, I thought.
And you'll probably never see him again, or if you
Exactly.
do, it'd be 9 months down, or 8, that sounds terrible, 9 months down the line, 6 months down the line.
Yeah, but you know what we did? We swapped smiles. That's what we did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you've had a stressful day, nothing makes you feel better.
You're absolutely right. Yes.
And on another point, before I shoot quickly, I've also been invited to a couple of parties through people that I've just chatted to. And I tell you, they've been blinding parties.
Really?
Yeah, really. I went to a firework one, and another couple that live quite near. I go to all their barbecues, parties, and whatever. I have a great time, get piddled as a rat, and come out thinking if I hadn't have spoken to them a year or ago, I would never have... Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It can be really nice. I would never meet these people normally if I hadn't have said hello or smiled.
Yes, precisely. Try it. You might like it. Thanks, Morel.
Thanks.
Cheers, Sarah. Now, it's almost, I feel like Oprah now. Spreading, not Trisha, mind, Oprah. Positivity, spreading a bit of happiness here, there, and everywhere. And if we did that, if we actually acknowledged people, and I'm right about that, there are a lot of people in your life that you see on a regular basis that you pretend that you don't know. People in the shop where you go and get your paper, and you can go in there for a year and get the same paper, and you act as though this is the first time you've ever seen them, don't you? And then after a while, because you act as though you don't know them, a barrier gets actually wider, not shorter, because it becomes almost more embarrassing now to jump the barrier from I don't know you, this is the only time I'll ever see your face, to I actually do know you, but we've spent a long time pretending that we don't recognise each other, so now it would seem weird if suddenly we said something. So the gulf actually gets wider, and the interaction becomes more uncomfortable. Or is that just me? You're looking at me quizzically. Is that just me?
No, I agree. I do that. I ignore people all the time.
Yeah. Me included. How do you think that makes me feel?
Super.
Yeah. So if we actually decided as a nation to change that, and you don't have to change it completely, you could just pick one person who in your everyday life you see on a semi-regular basis, but you've never actually conversed with. And there must be at least a half a dozen people. The bloke in the ticket counter at the tube. Somebody on the tube or your train going to work, it's the same fate because you pick the same time of day, it's the same faces, you see them every day, they recognise you, you recognise them, you're both in the same living hell of having to go in to a job that you hate on a transport system that's probably killing you. A little, like a smile and a nod. I think we've got ourselves into the position that anything of that order can be misinterpreted, so we don't do it. You smile at somebody, and they think, oh, are they trying to pick me up? Are they mad? Are they going to push me onto the tracks? Are they going to nick my iPod? What is it? We've taken the simplest of human interactions and we've twisted it around into something ugly and awful. What kind of a country is this?
I know. Someone asked me for the time the other day, and I got all defensive. I was waiting for them to try and steal my watch or something.
Yeah, exactly. This is the position that we've got ourselves into. Isn't it awful? Hey, Alex, what's the time? LBC, it's 9:30.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. Here's one in Enfield. Hello, Tony.
Hello there, Nick.
Tony.
Yes, you're talking about holidays and Bangkok and all the rest of it. Have you ever tried Havana, Cuba?
No, but I know someone who has. And it doesn't really appeal, to be honest.
Really? Well, I've done it several times, and I think, it's the largest island out there. It's almost the size of the UK, really, internal flights and all the rest of it. But I think it's got so much going for it, and it's nothing like what you described Bangkok, where the traffic goes nowhere, and it really is an extraordinary place.
Well,
and
no one can afford cars, can they?
Well, they can't. No, they can't. I mean, a doctor's on about £5 a week or £20 a month or something. So, yeah, because the economy can't afford that sort of thing. But it's really amazing what they've achieved. And but that's, you talk about beaches and all the rest of it. Varadero, 17 kilometres of white sandy beaches.
But isn't the thing about Cuba is that it's a country of two halves, so to speak. The half that the tourists get to go to and the halves that the poor types who have to live there sit in.
Well, you don't think the poor people of Liverpool come down to the Ritz Hotel, do you? Or go off on a 5-star hotel in the Caribbean somewhere, or the Mediterranean? Same thing here.
No, but but the people from Liverpool can walk into the Ritz if they so choose, whereas that's not the case in Cuba, I don't believe.
Well, I don't. Well, yes, in the point that because they'd be trying to sell you some Moody cigars or something, so that wouldn't be right. And the complaints have come from tourists that has made certain restrictions. But no, they can go anywhere. But it's I think that the reporting is quite selective, and it's not really as bad as what people make out it to be. But they can go anywhere. Of course, you wouldn't get people walking in the Ritz here if they probably looked as they do get turned. I mean, cab drivers get turned away walking into hotels to use the loo. So if that happens here, why can't it happen under those extreme circumstances out there because of the trade embargo and all the what's going on and all the rest of the politics? And no, it really is. But it's very civilized, Nick. You won't if you get somebody staring at you, you won't feel intimidated. Not like here. You'd probably want to run because you're going to get knifed or shot or something. But it's very civilized, and the beaches are out of this world. I've never seen beaches quite like the beaches of Varadero in Cuba.
And I think that it's on the cusp of changing because, of course, their old revered, revered is perhaps not the right word, but the leader is dead. And the possibility is that the embargo with America will be lifted. There is the hope there, particularly with the change, the top job in America shortly. So there will be an influx of both money and American tourists. So the Cuba that you know is potentially about to change beyond recognition.
Well, I don't think so, because I don't think the Americans will comply to our wishes now vote at the United Nations. The British government, they're one of 184 that votes against the embargo. But to end the embargo, will they open it up like you and I would envisage there? It's not going to happen, because they'll have to close down schools, hospitals, one-to-one care for their elderly people. Even in their polyclinics, Nick, they're installing them there with these scanners and X-ray machines. And their health system is second to none. Now, for them,
well, no, I don't. I'm sorry, mate. I don't buy that. And I think I've taken a call from you about Cuba before. Are you part of the Cuban tourist office or something of that order? The problem with Cuba, and I speak from a position of ignorance, is that a street cleaner gets paid the same as a doctor. Therefore, what's the point in going through medical school and becoming a doctor if you're just going to get paid the same? It's a completely screwed up system, and people there don't like being poor. They know that their close neighbours in America have fridges that you could walk into. They want all that stuff, and so that if the barriers do come down, then they'll be running after all of those good things, just as we are. So it will change beyond recognition. And so if you want to go and see the old, faded, falling apart Cuba, then I'd go now.
Well, Nick, I think you're right about, they want to be rich. They certainly want normal trade with the United States. No ifs or buts about that at all. But what they will not have is the lunatic asylum from Miami going back claiming property and anything else that was seized during the revolution of '59, because that was really dreadful. And so it'd be like the Queen of England when she dies. Is the left of the British Isles going to go into a socialist system? Of course not. They will not surrender to the Americans. The Americans have been trying to starve them for the last 50 years. They've gone halfway around the world.
No, I'm not suggesting they'll surrender to the Americans. They will surrender to the Western way of acquisition. They'll want all of that good consumer stuff. But anyway, Tony, I take your point, and Cuba is definitely on the list. It's some way down. Good. But it's on there. Thanks a lot, mate. Cheers. I think Brazil would be an interesting place to go. In the depths of our winter, as miserable as it is out there, and we've got another 2-3 months of this horror to go before it actually starts to get nice. You do think now is a good time to take a holiday, to go somewhere warm, and there's precious few places to go to that. Well, see, I'm a bit of a chicken about going to third world countries. I don't really want to go to India and Africa and South Africa, yes, but not Africa. So for people like me, chickens, there's only a relatively few places on the planet that you can go where it's hot there, where it's cold here. And I think Australia is out, because it's just too far. And like New York, I feel as though I've been there before I go there, because you've seen so much of it on TV and on the movies that how much different could it be? Like, I've seen it already, and I haven't even got close to it yet. So it's, no. And then you go to a few of these places and you think, well, shall I go back? Or shall I go a little bit further afield? And Brazil is one place that I haven't been to yet. You been to Brazil there, Raj? You're nodding your head.
No, but I'd like to. And
Right.
Argentina.
Argentina, yeah. Mexico is another possible. In fact, the entirety of South America. he's weighing that up.
Maybe some parts.
Some parts, right. OK, we'll compile a list, and then we'll go through them step by step. And then we'll book our holidays, eh? Here is Slough. Robin.
Hi, Nick.
Hey, Robin.
Good to have you back, mate.
Oh, it's nice to be here, thanks.
That guy who covered for you is all right, but he wasn't you, mate.
Well, I'm not him.
It's not the same. I would be driving home and I'd tune in and I'd hear his voice. I think, oh, man, and my heart would sink a little bit.
Well, don't slag him off, Robin. He's very good.
He is, but it's not you, mate. I like the cut of your jib and I like all the little sound effects.
Right. What is a jib, by the way?
I think it's something to do with sails and masts in it.
Well, this is an excellent time, because this is probably something that people have thought about a lot. But what is that? I can't be bothered to look it up. So look it up, Raj. Can you Google jib for me? I bet it's spelled J-I-B.
It will be. J-I-B.
So, Robin.
I used to live in Germany for 5 years, and I used to come back once a year.
Yeah.
And when I came back, the first thing I noticed when I landed at Heathrow was how miserable everybody was.
Yes.
And there was this miserable malaise, grey malaise that just hovered above everybody and weighed everybody down.
More than that, it seeps into every pore. It's like somebody slaps a wet towel on your face.
It does. I couldn't believe it. And you only notice it, well, like you say, when you go away somewhere else and you come back. And it's the first thing, it's just a grey, depressive atmosphere, and it was overwhelming. It was absolutely unbelievable. And the people's attitudes in the shops were, oh, what do you want? Can't be bothered, can't be, just very little enthusiasm to help you.
Yes. And it's as though we're dying inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And yet when I went back to Germany, it was like everybody was, obviously, they weren't jumping up and down singing songs, but the difference was noticeable.
Weren't they slapping their thighs and clicking their steins together?
And preparing to invade the next country, yeah. But yeah, they were, it was just a completely different world. I mean, it was the Black Forest I was in, and it was a lovely area.
Oh, yes, the Black Forest, I've been there. It's a fantastic area.
Beautiful, yeah.
Freiburg, I bet.
I was near Freiburg. It was very near Freiburg, yeah. It's one of the most affluent places in Germany, I think. Maybe that's something to do with it, but But yeah, it was just they took a pride in the country, and they were just seemed happier than we are for some reason. I don't know why.
It's the British condition. I don't know what it is, and I'd be, inquiring minds are keen to find out what is going on here.
I don't know. Maybe it's all that warm British beer, Nick.
Now, Slough, interestingly, came up in this article that I've been trying to read since I came on over 2 hours ago, and I still haven't got through. And Slough is the next part of it. This chap who's said that we revel in our grumpiness, and we actually delight in being miserable, labelled the 5 happiest places on the planet, Bhutan, which is a giant place between China and India. There's something you've learnt on this show, eh?
I already knew where Bhutan was.
Well, you say that now. Iceland, Thailand, India and Switzerland are the 5 happiest places.
No.
And then he returned to the attack against Britain and singles out Slough.
Has been miserable.
As a particularly unhappy place.
Well, to be honest, mate, Slough is full of Poles at the moment, and they are not the happiest people in the world.
Aren't they?
They're not happy. The girls are gorgeous. The guys look like they've been smacked in the face with a shovel, and they are not happy people.
Right. Well, you see, they've come over here. They probably left Nirvana at home to come and earn more money.
Probably laughing until they got to the border. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Hey, I don't agree. I don't agree with the Swiss being happy. I've been there several times because I used to live about 10 miles from the border, and they are very, very affluent, very wealthy, and they are not happy people. They're not spontaneous. They're very, very guarded.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I spent 6 months in Luxembourg. When I was working on radio, Luxembourg, and Luxembourg right next to and very similar to Switzerland. It's just a giant bank. Huh?
It's miles away from Switzerland.
Well, it's it might be geographically miles away, but I think it's having been to both places, they're both very similar in their social makeup. I think I'm going to stick with that.
The only thing they've got similar, Nick, is the fact that they're not Slough.
Right. Well, I think that's stretching it a bit. But, okay, if you say so. And Luxembourgers didn't seem to be particularly happy to me. I mean, the main industry is the same. It's still like a banking services country. Very wealthy. Everyone's driving a new Mercedes. There's no market for second-hand cars there because everyone works in a bank. They can get loans to buy new. People are very well turned out. Crime is low, although bizarrely, I do remember reading a long time ago that they lock up more of the percentage of population than we do. I'm not sure that that's still the case because we've been throwing a good deal number inside lately. But they didn't appear to be particularly happy. But perhaps that's just because they saw a Brit coming towards them.
Absolutely.
And they put their hand on their wallets just in case. Yeah. Robin, I've got to go. Thanks a lot, mate.
Cheers, Nick.
0845 6060 973. It's 9:45. LBC Travel with Karen Mercer.
The M4.
Mind your business. Now, we're doing a How Low thing at the moment until 6:30 tomorrow afternoon. It is a very stylish Sony Vaio laptop. It's got the lot, baby. A high-definition picture on a 15.4-inch widescreen screen. It's got a gigabyte of RAM and 120 gigabyte hard drive in it. And it is wireless-enabled. It is a super fantastic piece of kit and can be yours for literally pennies. It's a reverse auction. The lowest unique bid wins. And to bid, text LBC plus your bid in pence to 88821. If it was £1.23, you'd text LBC 123 to 88821. Bids cost £1.50 plus your standard network rate. Lines close 6:30 p.m. tomorrow. Bidders must be over 16. See lbc.co.uk for full terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Here is Kensington. Hi, Maria.
Hi.
I once knew a girl called Maria.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people tend to. It's a common name.
Mm-hmm. So, what's up, Maria?
Well, actually, I was calling in because I really appreciated your remarks on Cuba and setting that guy who called in straight. Because I'm actually Cuban-American, and I actually flew in today from Miami.
Oh.
And I just heard your show and called 118 and got your guy's number. Because, yeah, a lot of people, I mean, especially in Europe, have a really romanticized image of what's going on over there.
Right.
And it's just nice to hear an accurate,
Well, no, I haven't been there, but I know people who have, and what they told me was that there are areas that tourists go that locals can't. And the money is
not allowed to go.
Yeah, and the money is different as well. You got the money that local people use and the money that tourists use is not interchangeable. Is that right?
Well, I mean, you have the same currencies. I mean, now they don't accept dollars anymore, so they've changed that. It used to be that you could use dollars over there, but I mean, there's just so much corruption, and people who send dollars, like my family used to send money back to my family that was over there, and like the government that would inspect the packages would take the money out and then give the package with the rest of the stuff in it. I mean, there's just so much corruption that goes on, and the people who live there, like if you are a citizen of the country, I mean, even with like my dad who's a citizen, he can't go back and go into hotels if he's there on a Cuban passport, even though he's also an American citizen. And
which doesn't speak of a pleasant place to be to me.
No, it's not a free country. It's an authoritarian government. It's not. What's happening over there is not good. It's not positive.
And is there a sense that it's about to change with the change in the White House and the death of you-know-who?
Well, I mean, he's been dead and not dead for like ever, and every time he sneezes in Miami, there's a big party.
Right.
But, I mean, Raul is sort of the same thing. His brother's sort of, the same thing in a much weaker character, so he doesn't have the same charisma, and he won't, round up the same following that Fidel was able to for so many years. But
you think the song will remain the same?
I think the government will slowly change, and I think especially like for Cuban Americans, we're hoping for, and like most of people who live in exile from Cuba, we're hoping for a more dramatic change.
I mean, you can't hold back the modern world forever, really, can you? I mean,
no, you can't. I mean, and people go there and they're like, "Oh, it's so great! All the cars are from the '50s."
Yes.
Like, where's the great part? That's great. Cars are 50 years old. This is a good thing.
Well, yeah, people romanticize that era, particularly of motor vehicle design, because that was an era when cars actually looked like something. Now they all look the same. They all look like
cool, but I mean, the fact that nobody can go out and buy a new car is a bad thing.
Well, that's absolutely right. Yes. And you think that there's something seriously wrong with a society that people on the outside romanticize, if to get out of it you sit yourself on a rubber ring and throw yourself into the elements, hoping that you're going to achieve dry land before you die.
No, I mean, my friends' dads, one of my best friend's dad came over as a rafter, and he's a doctor, and he was, he went to med school in Cuba, and, they all just came out on a raft, and one of the guys got eaten by a shark, and, on the way over. I mean, if people are actually jumping out on pieces of styrofoam and rubber tires just hoping to float to Miami, I mean, you don't really have a good situation there. Nobody's sitting around. I mean, the guy that you had call in, gave the example of, people from Liverpool can't go to the wrist. Well, people from Liverpool aren't jumping on pieces of tire hoping to float to France. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, that's true. And everything that you just said does rather suggest that we shouldn't be encouraging them by going there as tourists.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go there right now, not until there's a regime change.
Right.
I mean, it's personal for me, but I don't think other people should go either.
How long are you here for, Maria?
I'm actually just here for the week. I'm on spring break from school, so.
Right. And what do you think so far?
Oh, I love it here. I come here all the time. Yeah.
Not too cold and grey and miserable?
It's cold and grey and miserable, but I still love it.
Okay, it's a break from Miami in every respect. All right, thanks a lot, Maria. Cheers, ta-da. 0845 6060 973. Shall I bother to get to the end of this article, or shall I just give up? I could do it tomorrow, because there's something at the end of it which could be a whole show in itself.
Well, just save it for tomorrow then.
How many column inches have you got left?
Yeah. What are you're just playing me like I'm a toy.
10 inches.
About that, yeah. That's what we're looking at. Here's Marylebone. Hello, David.
Hello, Nick. Nice to have you back, mate.
Thanks.
I'll defend your right to beg the question about the British mentality, but genius is born of that mentality. Or we are slightly morose, but as the other chap said earlier on, if you want morose, check out the Polish, and you can do that quite easily by watching a film called A Short Film About Killing. I forget the guy's name, but it's a good score in Scrabble. And, oh, dearie me, what a rat hole that looked. But,
a good score in Scrabble. He just threw that one away. That was funny.
Yeah, but you got your Isaac Newton. He danced at the other end of the ballroom, But he weren't no laugh a minute, but he was a genius. And then you got the other wing, Eric Clapton. They used to call him Snotty Clapton in the Blues Delta of Surrey, and flick his ears. So he sat indoors all day and practised Cantam races, and look at him now.
He's done very well, yeah.
Yeah, he has done well, but would you say he's the most expressive guitarist you've ever heard?
Expressive?
As in, if you knew about him, you could, like, sum him up. Whereas Steve Jones out of the Pistols, he might not be the most virtuoso guitarist, but you know that he was a bit of an oik just by listening to his guitaring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He played with a very memorable gig with Iggy Pop because he was on the what album was that?
Blah blah blah.
No, well, he might have been on that one, but it was the one before that. It was I can't remember. But he did a fantastic job there in his giant cowboy hat and Iggy Pop throwing himself around the stage. At one point, he climbed a speaker stack, Iggy Pop. It was about 12 foot high, and he was just writhing around on top with his shirt off. And then he fell off the back. It was at least 12 foot, and he just disappeared. And minutes went by. It must have been 5 minutes before he actually reappeared in an explosion of energy as though nothing had actually happened. He must have got medical attention back there. That bloke's a nutter.
How about Greg Allman, Dwayne Allman?
Dwayne Allman, yes.
Memories of Elizabeth Freed. Have you heard it? They're live at the Fillmore concert, 1971.
I have heard the Fillmore album, but I can't give you a track listing, so this is a good long while since
you can hear it now.
As though by magic.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, but unfortunately I had to turn it down because otherwise we'll have to pay for playing it.
That's because you're a girl and can't stand proper rock and roll, unlike that.
Are you joking? I am a rock and roll DJ, mate. Check me out. Well, I can't say that here, but yeah. But don't delay. Do it today. Gotta go, mate. Ta-ta.
Okey-dokey, ta-ta.
Okey-dokey. That's a new one on me. He dances at the other end of the ballroom. I'll add that to my list. Hey, Raj, what have we talked about today then, eh?
We spoke about feeling better,
yeah,
excessive eating and drinking, which I think you did on holiday.
Yes, I did.
Being miserable.
But I look svelte and healthy on it, though, eh?
Very good, yeah. You're obviously eating and drinking the right things.
Yeah, right.
Wiener, whiner, negative humour, babies, attacking dogs, eye contact with babies, business.
Do you want some?
I don't think we're going to have time, are we?
No, we're fresh out. Oh dear, what a pity, never mind. LBC.
Your apartment backs onto lush